Hey, good morning. It's 9:57 on Sunday. I've got some National Guard deployment updates for you. So last week there was a decision by a Ninth Circuit court that said Trump could take command of 200 Oregon National Guard troops. But there's a second order out there that a judge, Karen Intergut, I believe, had passed that said he couldn't actually deploy them. So he can take command of the troops, but he can't actually deploy them yet. And they said they're going to make a decision on that by Tuesday at 5 p.m. So it's great that he can control the troops, but he can't do anything with them at the moment. In D.C., a court heard from the D.C. Attorney General, Brian Schwab, I believe his name is, and he had requested that the 2,000 troops in D.C. be pulled from the streets. The troops were there at the order of Donald Trump, despite the Department of Justice itself saying that crime in D.C. was at a 30-year low. The judge did not make a ruling from the bench. So right now they are still there at the moment. I'll try to get updates on when there might be a ruling on that. But they are still there. They've been extended to this point. Several states have said that they are going to pull the National Guard by the end of November unless there is another extension. One of those states that sent troops to D.C. was West Virginia. A group called the West Virginia Citizen Action Group actually filed a lawsuit saying that Governor Patrick Morrisey did not have the authority to send West Virginia troops, I believe there's 200 to 300 of them, to D.C. because it was not at the request of the state or it was not in response to an emergency. Now, there is no state of D.C., but it was not in response to an emergency, except for one that Trump said there was. So a court is actually hearing that right now, heard some initial arguments, and then on November 3rd is going to hear additional arguments about that to see if the group has standing and can bring that lawsuit, and if Morrisey can actually deploy troops in that manner. So just to wrap up, no troops sent into Portland, even though Trump has the authority to send them. He can't actually deploy them at this point. He can control them, but he can't actually deploy them. There will be more about that in follow-up hearings in D.C. Still trying to figure out when the next step of that is as far as getting those 2,000 to 2,300 troops. Those are from 8 states off the streets in D.C. Again, several states told the Associated Press that they were going to remove them anyways at the end of November unless they're extended. So more to follow there. And then West Virginia took kind of a cool little approach there, saying that the governor never even had the authority to send them in the first place to another state when there's no state of emergency there. So I'll try to keep you posted when I can. MilitaryTimes.com does a good job of wrapping up deployments and what is going on there. I advise you check them out. And then they got a lot of their information for this article from the Associated Press. But if you go look at current military deployments, National Guard, there's several articles in there talking about what the latest legal moves are. Okay, thanks. Have a great day.